Alright, asante sana, pozi tena pozi kabisa. Welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel, To His Paradise. My name is Meshek, and here we are. As you can see, I'm very sure you have already started thinking what we are about to talk about. We are about to talk about. But I have a question for you. You have been watching my videos for close to 1 year now. You have not subscribed to the channel. Is there a problem? Is there something I need to know? Maybe subscribe button is not working properly. I'm kidding. I'm just inviting you to subscribe to my channel. Just get so close to me because I have so much lined up for you. I am doing all this because of you. It is educating and it is also entertaining. We get to know new things every other day. In front of me is a Vogue 300 Larry. Vogue 300 Larry. This is a desert motorcycle. A very short description of this bike is a desert motorcycle. Looking at it, there are some things you can see and tell that this motorcycle is not designed for you to learn with others, chase everybody on the highway. This is supposed to take you from one off-road to the other, but that doesn't mean it cannot learn on the highway. You have seen a couple of my highway videos. I have so much I have not even uploaded. You can do off-road and highway, but this bike is more oriented to highway to off-road rides. I mean off-road. In this video, I want to discuss a few things that I really love about this motorcycle. A few things that I love about this motorcycle, the way it is. We have not even done the first 1,000 kilometers, so we haven't even done the first service. It is still brand new, although it is looking dirty, and it is because I have been in the jungles like all over the time. I've been riding off-road, so that's why it is so dirty. But the bike is still new, around 600 and something kilometers, still new. Some few things that I love about this motorcycle, and I start with the accessories, added accessories that are coming stock with this bike. Some few things you must have when you're riding off-road bikes include the crash guard to save your engine, especially engine and these plastics. When the bike goes down, you're riding in some forest, you make a mistake, definitely you are about to drop the bike at some point if you are riding serious off-road. You don't want to just drop the bike a little bit at 20 kilometers an hour and then your engine is broken, something is broken, plastics are broken. You don't want that to happen. So what we do when we buy brand new off-road bikes, we start by installing these crash guards. As the first thing, this is the accessory you add as the first thing. But fortunately, Vogue have decided to give us this crash guard as stock with no extra charge. This is coming stock from the factory through to the showroom to your hands. This is coming stock, and it is a proper crash guard. Someone sat down and thought about it. It is rigid. It can save your bike. When you look at this, this is hard guard. It is plastic, but a very tough plastic. Very tough plastic. The beauty about having these things is, again, when you go off-road, at some point you will drop the bike. If you drop the bike and the crash guard hits the ground, it is going to save whatever is down here, including these pegs. But for now, we'll talk about the pegs in a minute. It is going to save the bike from here down to the ground. But what happens up here becomes a disaster, because your bike will turn and it can't turn beyond this point. That's the farthest you can turn. So what hits the ground is this lever. The crash lever always hits the ground. And when it hits the ground, it becomes a disaster. You're going to break this one. So you can imagine now you have left Nairobi for Kajiado, you have done off-road for some 200 kilometers, and you no longer have crash lever. How do you get your bike home? Problems. To save yourself from that headache, you have this. Second, this thing guards your hands. You see, when you're riding your motorcycle, if you drop the bike and you're not fast enough to remove your hand from here, you can hit the ground with your fingers. Or you're riding through a trail that has trees. You can very easily break your knuckles if you don't have this one. It has happened to a lot of people, and it happens, it's a disaster, it is painful. You can break your fingers very easily. Also, even on the highway, if you drop the bike, you don't want these things to just get broken. You see, this one will even save your side mirrors, because what hits the ground is what is outside, and in this case it is this plastic. You might think the plastic is maybe fragile, but the material we have here is like the material we have on the fairings, and you're very sure fairings have some level of withstanding tension. They withstand tension. So here, this plastic is hard enough to at least absorb that impact. Even if it is going to break at some point, it will have saved what it was supposed to save, and then you can replace it and continue with life. Same case with the other hand. You don't want to break your brakes. Front brakes, they're broken. You have broken a lot of stuff here. The side mirror is gone, side mirror gone. A lot of things are gone. Again, when this one hits the ground, the plastics don't hit the ground. This one will hit the ground. If something has to break, will be this one, and this one is cheaper to replace than this one. Alternatively, you can get the aftermarket ones, the backbusters, the accesories. We have a lot of them with the metal rail inside, plastic with the metal rail. You can get that one if you want, but the manufacturer of this one is giving you these ones as stock. The other thing I love about this bike is that it comes with a very strong windshield mounted here. This windshield has a lot of business being in front of you. You see, when I'm sitting on the bike, this windshield comes straight to where the helmet is. So my body from helmet going down is guarded by this windshield. The upper part of my body, which is the head, is guarded by the helmet. If something comes flying, like a lock, a pebble or something, a piece of magazine, something that can distract you and make you get into an accident on the highway, they get trapped by this one. I have had a situation where a newspaper, a whole page of newspaper, came flying, almost trapping me by the face. Luckily, the bike I was riding that time had a Torah windshield. That newspaper was trapped by the windshield. It never got to my face. You can imagine a piece of paper coming flying all over the highway, and then it covers your face. Just when you're overtaking, something is covering your face. Very dangerous. So if your motorcycle doesn't have a windshield, you need to have something in front of you, a windshield. That one is not negotiable, unless it is a dirt bike. Unless it is a dirt bike, you should have a windshield in front of you. Second, it guards you from wind fatigue. When you're traveling at high speed, let's say 100 kph and above, for like an hour or two, if you're struggling with wind, you get tired. There is that fatigue you get from struggling with wind. You cannot really tell you are struggling with wind, but in real sense, your body is noticing you are struggling with wind. The other issue that this thing saves is the dashboard. In case you drop the bike, you're very high. High chances are this one is going to guard this one. If something hits your bike, it is not going to hit this one. This one guards the dashboard. Okay? It is cheaper to replace this one than to replace the dashboard. The same thing I told you, it is cheaper to replace this plastic than replacing this whole side panel. Okay? It is cheaper to replace this than replace the dashboard. So it replaces that part. Okay? The other thing I love about this motorcycle is the suspension. I do not know how high you are going to jump for you to bottom out this bike. I want you to look at this. This is just highway riding. I'm coming from Vika, and this is just highway riding. Can you see the distance the suspension is moving? Just hitting bumps and stuff like that, and getting here, which is just like 50 meters off-road. You can see. When you do serious off-road, it comes down to almost this level. There is no way you can bottom out this bike to a point this one is going to hit this one. They cannot touch each other at whatever point, unless the suspension breaks. They cannot touch each other. So suspension for this bike, someone thought about it and they knew exactly what they were doing. The rear one also, you can see this suspension is so tall to a point. Look at this distance. Look at this. Yes, look at this. So high. There is no point in time you are going to bottom out this bike to a point this one will hit this one. It's not possible. So when you're riding off-road, this bike is going to be very safe. Very safe. There's no chance of you bottoming out this. There's no chance of you breaking something just because you went through some ramp. Yeah, it is not going to happen. The other thing I love about this bike is the ABS. This bike comes with ABS, and this ABS is working. This ABS is working. It is working. When you slam the brakes, you can feel this pedal vibrating somehow when the ABS kicks in. You cannot skid this bike as long as the ABS is on. Again, for off-road riding, we do not need ABS. ABS is not very safe when you're riding off-road, because sometimes you want to skid the wheel and take a sharp turn. You cannot skid that rear wheel when you have ABS. So what happens is, we have this. You can switch it off. Like for now, let me show you. You can see the ABS light is on here. And it is a solid light, it is not blinking. Can you see this? It's not blinking. That tells you the ABS is on. See what happens. You press this one, don't let it go for a couple of seconds. See? It is going to start blinking. Can you see? Yeah, starts to blink. The ABS is off now. Can you see the blinking? Yes, the ABS is off. You have this option of running without ABS and also running with ABS. Okay, you can do that. You can switch it on, switch it off. The brakes on this motorcycle are working properly. With or without the ABS, the brakes are okay. The brakes are okay. And you can see we have ABS to the rear and ABS to the front. Can you see the petals? Can you see the sensor? This is the ABS sensor. This is the pedal, the ABS pedal. So we have ABS on both wheels. There is no way you're going to skid this bike and crash on the highway as long as your ABS was on. No way. You're not going to crash it. The other thing, for off-road riding, we require a motorcycle with enough torque, especially to climb hills. And this bike is delivering exactly that. Can you see the sprocket we have here? This is 48 teeth. 48 is a lot, because most touring bikes for 650cc, 700 to 800cc, they come with around 45 teeth. This is a 300 with 48. Small twist of the throttle, just a small twist of the throttle, you can feel it. The torque is enough. Torque is enough. Both for highway acceleration, when you want to overtake, the power is enough. The horsepower is not so much. This bike is not meant for highway speeds, but you can maintain 110, 115, 120 for highway. From the reviews I have watched, because I also watch people's reviews, I have seen in other countries, people are testing their bikes and they are doing very good speed. But I cannot test this one for now because we have not done the first service. We are still in the break-in period. Even if I am here to test the bikes, I cannot be irresponsible enough to test top speed for a brand new bike, then damage the break-in period, damage the engine stuff. I cannot do that. I'm a responsible person, I can't. But you can be very sure in a week or two, when we do the first service, we hit 1,000 kilometers, another 500 on top, I will test how much speed we can get from this bike. I can test. I have done that on other bikes, and you're very sure you'll get it. If you have been watching my videos, I'm very sure you know that. This bike is coming with off-road tires stock. These are very good tires. These are very good tires, my friend. These are very good tires. Very, very good tires. These ones, you don't need to leave the showroom and then go to another repair shop to get your wheels changed. You can do this, these tires for the first like 5,000 kilometers. Then from there you can change if you want. But if they are still good for you, continue with it. Continue with it. Look, the exhaust is so high up such that if you are going through water, flooded places like rivers or stuff, you don't have any chance of you having your bike suck water through the exhaust. It is a very dangerous scenario if your motorcycle sucks water through the exhaust pipe. Even if you get water here, because most of the times when we are cleaning our bikes, Maybe you take it to a car wash that uses pressure. You know that pressure machine? They heat the exhaust with water. Definitely water is going to get in. You don't want water going all the way to the engine chamber. So what happens here, we have a small hole here. Where is it? Yeah, this one. This one is a small hole. Yes, we have a small hole. Let me try and get something through it. See, this is a hole. We have like a small hole here. This small opening, this one, is supposed to drain any water that gets in through the exhaust tip before it gets to the catalytic converter and then all the way back to the engine. Because remember, this is an EFI bike and we have an oxygen sensor here. Oxygen sensor. This one is supposed to measure the amount of oxygen that is getting out of the combustion chamber. If oxygen is a lot going out, it tells you the combustion is not complete. There is something wrong with the combustion. Because bikes are only supposed to produce other gases, including carbon and other stuff that are found in fuel. I think nitrogen and some other gases that come from burning fuel. You're not supposed to have a lot of oxygen getting out because your engine requires oxygen for combustion. So if a lot of it is coming out, it tells you there's something wrong with your combustion. That's why we have an oxygen sensor outside the engine, mounted on the exhaust, because this is a passage where all the exhaust gases go through before they leave your motorcycle. So we have this guy. You don't want water to come all the way to this guy and damage that stuff. Okay? So these are some of the few things I love about this motorcycle. There is the element of riding while standing. Riding your motorcycle while standing, which is a very, very important skill for off-road riding. This motorcycle comes with very, very good footpegs. These footpegs, a lot of times we buy them aftermarket, but they are giving them to us stock. Okay? They are giving them to us stock. There is so much grip here, there is no chance of you slipping while you're riding off-road. So much grip. And also, this is metal. Very, very solid metal. This is not like this one. This is cast something for pillion. That one is not an issue. This is cast. It's not an issue. This is an off-road bike. What matters is where the rider is sitting. If the rider is sitting on the wrong peg, that whole ride is just horrible. Just horrible. There is this. You see this cover for the front sprocket. It is not a solid cover where you have to remove it for you to see the sprocket. They have put a cover with holes where you can even lubricate your sprocket. You can even check it and see if the teeth are still working fine. Whatever is going on here, you can even clean it, because this part tends to carry a lot of dirt, a lot of waste. When you oil the chain collects dust, pebbles and stuff. They are all deposited here. But now this one is open in a way, when you are cleaning your bike, you can even clean the front sprocket. Very, very important. A lot of people buy these things aftermarket. If you see people with Kawasaki KLR, Honda Africa Twins, they try and get these things aftermarket so that you can be able to see what is happening to your front sprocket. They are giving it to you stock. This bike has a switch on the side stud. The engine cannot run while it is on gear if the side stud is down. We have this switch. Very, very important for your own safety. Like right now, the bike is on gear 1. I believe it's on gear 1. It should not run as long as this side stand is down. It's a safety measure. Okay, it's a safety measure. See that? Let's talk about this chain guard. This chain guard also has this part that is cut off. Very important for you lubricating your chain. The sprocket has this thing. You see this extra metal part? This is supposed to trap your chain in case your chain falls off from the sprocket. Maybe your chain gets so loose. Maybe it gets so loose, or it snaps off. One link is cut off and the chain breaks. It should not come in here and start locking stuff. It should fall off from the main sprocket to this part, and it is prevented from rocking the wheel on the inner side. This is for your own safety. This is for your own safety. If the chain for some reason gets so loose and it comes off the sprocket for some reason, it should not go to the wheel side, because if it rocks the wheel, you're finished. This one is supposed to trap it. Just look at off-road bikes. Most of them come with something like this. It is very, very important. And when you are putting on an aftermarket sprocket, try and have something with this. Do not replace this one with another one that doesn't have the safety feature. Just remember this. What else about this bike? It's a very simple bike. Even if it is a EFI, liquid cooled, ABS, it is a very simple bike. If anything goes wrong, you can try to figure out what it is. It is not complicated. You have a lot of empty spaces here. You can fix something if something breaks or something comes loose. You have a lot of empty spaces here. You see, you can reach something. You can reach something. And again, the plastics are in different pieces. You can remove this plastic without removing this one. You can remove this one without removing this one. You can remove this one without removing this one. You see? So when you want to fix something on the side, you don't have to break the whole bike into pieces. Yeah, you don't have to break the whole bike into pieces. There are so many aftermarket parts for this bike on websites like Amazon and AliExpress in China. So many aftermarket parts. You can get a lot of stuff for this bike. A lot of stuff for this bike. Finally, when you're standing on this bike, let me show you something. When you're riding standing, you are not so cramped to the bike. You have enough space here to play around to a point you can even shift. While you're riding, you can even shift. You can even shift. Can you see? You can even shift. While you're riding off-road, you're standing, you're not so cramped to the bike, you have enough free space to move around, take corners, lean to the front, lean to the back. You have enough space to play around to a point you can brake, you can even shift. You can even shift. Very, very important. That means you can learn on highway speeds while off-road. If you have enough skill to ride off-road, you can ride off-road with highway speeds. Yes, you can. If you have enough experience, you can. A lot of things on the side are metallic. Metallic, you see, metallic. This is plastic, this exhaust guard. If you want to carry some side bags, they are safe. They cannot get burnt off by the exhaust. You can just put some side bags here. This one is guarding them. They cannot touch the exhaust. The other side is actually empty. There's no issue. You can put a top box here, a small top box. They have even put bolt holes for you. There is this, and then there is this. You can mount something to handle your side bags from here. You just need some very little modification. You get some bracket to hold your side bags. If you're traveling on the highway for long, maybe you're going for camping, you can do that. This bike has a very tall seat, very long seat that is. You're sitting here, you can have the pillion here and top box here. Finally, the bike is not consuming a lot of fuel, doing 30 kilometers per liter. This tank is 11 liters. You can go to around 300 kilometers before you fuel again. And I believe in most countries, 300 kilometers you must get a fuel station. Whether you call them petrol station or gas station, depending on where you come from, you can get something, then it is going to be fine. Just going to be fine. This is a bike that you can love. It's a bike you can love. Don't listen to people who are negative about Chinese motorcycles, I don't know, Chinese bikes. A lot of things are coming from China these days. All the gadgets, the laptops, the mobile phones, they're coming from China. Medical equipments are coming from China. If you can trust a CT scan machine, an MRI machine from China, if you can trust it with your life, why don't you trust a bike from China? Again, it is not just any other Chinese company. I know we have very, very substandard bikes coming from China. This one is Vogue from Lonsin. From Lonsin. And Lonsin are the people who make the biggest number of engines in China. The biggest engine manufacturer in China is called Lonsin. They make engines for everything. And they make engines for companies that are not based in China. Companies in Japan, companies in Brazil, Australia, companies in Europe, they are ordering their engines from this company. So what makes you think that this bike is poor quality, while these people are the same people making BMW engines and other engines? Ask yourself that question. My name is Meshak. Two Wheels Paradise. Thank you so much for supporting me. This is Vogue Rally 300. I'm already loving this bike. My height, my weight, my riding style, 100% coordination. I love this bike and nothing can change that. See you around. See you next time. Two Wheels Paradise. This is Meshak. Remember to subscribe. That thing is free.